the best exercises for developing a wider and thicker back? Well, for targeting all muscles of the back, you need two types of exercises. One vertical pulling exercise like pull up or pull down, and one horizontal pulling exercise like basically any kind of row. But exercise selection itself won't grow your back as much as you want. How you are doing these exercises is as much and even more important than exercise selection. So in this video, I will show you 4 best exercises for the back and important things that you need to focus on when you are training your back.
I know a long
First of all, quick anatomy of the back muscles that we need to train to get a wider and thicker back. The first and most important muscle that is responsible for giving us that V-taper look is lats. Lats or latissimus dorsi muscles are the largest muscles on the back. They are just below shoulder blades on each side and they extend down along the spine to the pelvis. Lats have 2 main functions. First is shoulder adduction or bringing the arm closer to the body, and the second is shoulder extension, bringing the arm closer to the body when it's in front. Next is trapezius muscles or traps, which are 3. Upper traps that function to elevate the scapula like on a shrug, middle and lower traps that function to retract the scapula like on a row. Then there is rhomboids, which are divided into rhomboid major and rhomboid minor, which function to retract the scapula, and they will be targeted by all exercises that hit the entire middle back like rows and face pulls. Also, there is spinal erectors that extend all the way up the spine to the skull and function to extend the entire spine. And also, there is a rotator cuff muscles that function to externally and internally rotate the shoulder. For the complete back development, we need to choose exercises that are performing the function of the muscle, that are offering a good stretch under load, because we know that training in the stretch position will increase the tension delivered to the muscle, which leads to more growth. Exercise need to have the capacity for overload. If you can't add reps or weight to that exercise over time, it's not good for muscle growth. And of course, exercises need to be safe. And the first great exercise for the back is a pull-up. Pull-up is the king of all back exercises, and here is why. Pull-up has a great strength carryover to other pulling exercises, which means more reps, more weight, higher overload to that exercises, which leads to more muscle growth. Classical pull-up gives you a good stretch in the dead hang position, and you can overload it by wearing a weight belt. And if you can't do pull-ups with your body weight yet, it's perfectly fine to use bands for assistance or assisted pull-up machine. On the pull-ups, you want to control the negative for 2 to 3 seconds. Don't rush your sets. You want to get your chin up over the bar and you want to do full range of motion reps with a good form. If you found that your grip strength is a limiting factor for your performance on the pull-ups, it's perfectly fine to use straps, but don't become dependent on them. Pull-ups are going to hit your entire back with the emphasis on the lats. But why pull-ups and not lat pull-downs? The reason why pull-up and not pull-down, because pull-up targets more total body musculature. This study from 2013 by Doma and colleagues showed that there was no significantly more lat activation during pull-downs versus pull-ups, but pull-up came on top when it came to spinal erector and bicep activation. And also the overloading capacity of the pull-up is very high, but before adding any weight, as is the case with any other exercises, you need to master the technique with your body weight first and then add some weight. But either way, pull-up is always going to be my #1 exercise for the back and something that I will always recommend to do for bigger back. Next good exercise for the back is a cable row. Cable row gives you that horizontal pulling type of exercise. Cable rows are going to hit your entire back with more emphasis on the upper back. On my pull day or on my back day, when I did wide grip pull-ups, I prefer wider grip on the rows because that is going to isolate my upper back and that will hit my rear delts quite heavily as well. Cable rows are nice because unlike dumbbells, your form stays locked in and cables provide a smooth resistance. And by leaning forward a little bit, but not too much because you don't want to round the lower back, that's bad for your back, but by leaning just a little bit forward, you're increasing the stretch delivered to the back and therefore you're increasing the tension. This exercise is a type of exercise where I will highly recommend to use straps because I found for myself that this exercise burns my forearms if I don't use straps harder than any other kind of row. So by strapping, I'm getting better my muscle connection with my back and I can lift more weight. And if you want to isolate your lats more, you want to take a close grip and pull by driving your elbows down and getting your arms to your stomach. And of course, you want to control that negative for 2 to 3 seconds. Next exercise for the complete back development is a cable pullover. The reason why cable pullover and not dumbbell pullover is because cable fixes the tension limitations with the dumbbell pullover. See, when I'm doing a dumbbell pullover, the tension is most in this bottom stretched position, and as I go up and all the way through full range of motion of this exercise, I'm losing my tension at this top position. So my lats are losing tension on the dumbbell pullover exercise from about 30 degrees, but cables provide tension throughout the rep. So on the cable pullovers, you want to lean forward a bit, drive your elbows straight down, you want to use a rope, and you want to control the negative and get a good stretch at this top position. On this, you want to do slightly higher reps because this is not a strength-based exercise, so you want to stay in the 12 to 15 rep zone. And the reason why you are doing this exercise on the knees is because it increases your stability. And with this exercise, you're working on a straight arm scapular strength, which is going to carry over to your other heavy compound exercises like deadlift, on which you need to pull the bar by dragging it up over your shins. This exercise teaches you that, and on a squat that increases your stability throughout the posterior chain. This exercise is a great lat builder and something that you need to start doing if you are tired of regular dumbbell pullovers. And the last but certainly not least good exercise for the back is a face pull. This exercise hits your entire upper back, it hits your mid-traps, it hits your rear delts, and is one of the few exercises that hits your rotator cuff when you're externally rotating your shoulder. You want to use a rope on this, you want to pull the rope to your eyes and get into this front double bicep pose, and you want to control the negative for about 3 seconds, get a good stretch on your rear delts and your upper back, and do it again. This is type of exercise that I will recommend going higher on reps, like doing from 10 to 15 reps and focusing on good execution. And that's it for the best exercises for the complete back development. I hope that you found this video helpful. If so, please leave me a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one.